So I was at Netflix. I didn't know what to watch. I knew I wanted to watch anime, but I didn't want to repeat the classics or my favorites. So I was looking for something new, and I was updated with Kimetsu and Jujutsu Kaisen. So I found out this new anime, Blue Eye Samurais. It turns out it's from Netflix. So it wasn't like my first call to see something from Netflix, but I gave it a shot. And honestly, it surprised me. I will show you how. This story has a plot that makes sense. It's realistic, full of violence, full of heart. It has love as no one else dares to show, and every character makes sense. But it's gauging. How can Netflix change anime as we know it? When we talk about anime, we mainly refer to manga. It's the main source of this kind of work. And we have a problem here with the audience. Because the manga itself, it doesn't have music, it doesn't have the lighting, it doesn't have the voice of the actors. Anime does. And the most reply that we get from the audience to any anime is that the manga did it better. And of course it did it better because this you read it at your own pace. Anime is art decision. It's different because the medium is different. Netflix, what it's trying to do here is to make American anime at their own taste. They know they are not the first option for an anime lover to go and see at Netflix an anime. So they won't do a manga. They do not need a mangaka to do this. And they don't care about the classic audience because they know they are not the first option for them. So they have to do something different. That's the main lecture of Netflix in this business. They do it because that's the way they can do it. They aren't Japanese. I almost forgot. There are two reasons why Netflix is doing what they're doing. There's a vulnerability because of anime cliches that we will see. And second, the working conditions of animators. So now I'm going to review the anime's cliches. A cliche is basically an element that it tends to be overused, abused basically. You tend to see them everywhere, but to the point that we forgot why they are there in the first place. To begin with, the majority of anime belong to the genre of fantasy plus action. And what I mean with this? We have supernatural environment, we have monsters, we have a power mechanisms that for most of the case it has a lot of flaws in the logic itself. And we have a new world to discover. So basically what we have here is like we find a monster, just to put it in those terms, that wants to conquer the world, period. One way or another they are the evil ones and we know them. With that we have a main character that has the feeling to be the hero of the story. And what I mean with this, we have teenagers as main characters that one way or another we find out later that they are the chosen one in the story. That we were waiting for this character with all these characteristics to overcome the obstacle. So it is pointless, the effort. Meritocracy it has no value here. But what is like the pattern of the main character? They are teenagers, have a strong feeling to the community, like they owe to the community to defend them no matter what, even though they can be endangered by this duty. They do this because of that feeling or because they want to rescue a loved one. In case of Seiya, her sister, and Tanjiro, her sister as well. Well, Light is an exception. He is like the exception in this case. But related with this, we have Itadori that also wants to like help everyone, no matter what. They are like the Bushido main character for me, in the sense that you are not a human being by itself. Your individuality doesn't mean nothing. You only mean as long as you are functional to the community. Period. That is like the value that we see here. In a relationship with that, I point out that in anime everything is explicit. What I mean with this? In case of cinema, in terms of cinema, there are a lot of things that are implicit. That with a glance, a movement, a tone of voice, or the lighting or something, they are trying to tell us that something is going on. In case of anime, everything is explicit. It's like we know all the intentions of the characters, why they are doing what they are doing, why they are the way they are, what they even think.
I'm gonna show you, L. I'll solve equations with my right hand and write names with my left. I'll take a potato chip and eat it.
We know what he thinks about the other characters. We know what he wants to do. What are like the drivers of all his decisions. So we know everything. And it's kind of insulting if we want to, because by doing so, we think like the audience in this case will not get it otherwise. I mean, I have to say what I want to do or everything to be explicit because I'm afraid you will not get it. It's like explaining a joke. Relationship with this, another point of anime is like we have a lot of filler. And with this, I mean episodes that do not add nothing to the story, to the plot as it. You can remove them and you will have a shorter story, but in terms of business, that will be less episodes to sell and it will be a shorter story. So you have secondary characters that are completely removable. You will have a training arc. You will have each episode that you will have an episode dedicated to this filler character where we see the background, we know why they are the way they are, and it's the same and the same again with another character, just like repeated, it is on a loop this. You can totally remove it and the story will be totally the same, but this cliche comes also with another cliche of anime. And I mean that the other problem that we see in anime is that most animes do not have an ending or do not have a proper ending itself. This comes related with the business decision that putting an ending to something is like it's over and we have to do something else. So the mangaka, the artist and the publishers behind this, it's something that they do not want at any kind of cost. Hunter x Hunter, for example. What this means. We will have a lot of filler, we will have arcs that go to no place at all, they do not go forward to the story, and they even they go to an open ending. That every question that we have in the process of why a character has this motivation to do this, or is this person going to achieve his personal goal or not, we find out in the path that they have more and more goals to do. It's like you do not reach the final point. You only have more obstacles, more missions, more challenges in the process, and you will never solve them all. It's like the end of the Hunter x Hunter anime show that, is that all that we have witnessed so far is just like the intro of a bigger saga. So that is not giving you an ending. That is giving you a sequel. In relationship with this, another cliche with anime, and I do not have to be really explicit about it, is the fan service. Yes, this is a total response to the market and to the most wild part of it, if we want to. We know what we are watching here, why it is there. It's like forget the plot, forget everything. You know why you are watching this. It doesn't make sense. No, it's like you know why you are watching this. You know it. I don't have to emphasize it anymore. And last is that anime is eye candy. With this, I mean that whenever you are watching an anime, a simple rule of fact that you know that you identify that a show is anime is that it is a spectacle by itself. You know, it has a trademark that is really eye appealing, it's eye candy for the audience. And that is the main trademark of anime. It's like really nice to watch. It has a lot of action in it, period. Another point that we have to talk, and I will not be the first one to do so, is the working conditions of animators. It's like in the market they are totally abused. There are total complaints about the publishers or the burnout and the low pay that they have for their work. It's like we completely understand the love for the craft that they have in the medium, and they love anime. Everyone wants to be a mangaka by itself, but this is a market at the end of the day, and we have to accept it as it is. We cannot expect it to suddenly change from nowhere. My advice for any animator is like, know how to be distinctive, know how to put a trademark by yourself, because if I cannot distinguish your work from other, you are totally replaceable, you are disposable in the whole term of the meaning of that word. And another point with that is like the audience that it is toxic, because they also complain about sometimes of the bad quality of some episodes. It's like they don't care about the animators. It's like, okay, they have poor working conditions, but what can they do? I think we have also to support alternative animations, and I don't mean only Netflix. Whatever that stands out outside from Japan, and I think we have to give them an opportunity for the sake of the competition in the market. My advice for the animators will be gain a trademark of your own. Gain how to be, gain not to be disposable. Gain to be unique. They are a proper trademark of the market, and we also view the working conditions of the animators that are totally disposable. What can we say about this? In the first place, a cliche, aside that it is a trademark, it can be seen as a vulnerability. Why? Because everything that is different from that, it will automatically stand out. It's like we already kind of know what kind of story we can expect from anime and to whom it's targeted. So Netflix, what it's doing here is that they are trying to see if the anime format can be readapted to the American taste and to be more international if we want to. Aside from that, the working conditions of the animators, my advice is know how to gain a trademark. Know how to say your work is from this specific author, otherwise you are totally disposable. And you will have not a future because you are totally disposable. I cannot distinguish your work from the rest. So remembering Avatar: The Last Airbender, it's not the first time that we see something made outside from Japan that it kind of look like an anime and it works. We have to accept this as something new. And we have to embrace this. Hope that anime can have new kind of stories aside from the ones that we already know.